that's exactly what it means. And to constantly remind ourselves, because if we don't constantly remind ourselves who we are, we fall into the same old patterns of suffering, the same old patterns. And we have to constantly remember, who am I? So I'm the divine. How do I know I'm the divine? How do I know I'm the divine? You have to question yourself. Because that's the only way you'll believe it or understand it. I know because I don't belong to me. How do I know I don't belong to me? I know my body will die one day. So who created this body? Who gave me these eyes? Who gave me these ears? Okay, genetics, I came from my parents. But how did my parents didn't even know what I was going to look like. So who am I? Where did I come from? I must have come from some place. Somebody must have designed this. So I come from something much more than this. Much more than this. This is Maya. Maya, Maya. You know what Maya means? Illusion. Yeah. Illusion, to constantly remind ourselves. Look at your body when you were a child. A baby, so small. And then you became a teenager, right? So big. And then suddenly you're an adult. And suddenly you're a grandparent. Before I know it, in another 20 years, I'll be on a stick. Maybe not. Maybe I'll be lucky and be like Mataji. Or dead. Who knows? None of us know. So the idea of spiritual learning is this constant reminder. Because if we don't remind ourselves who we are, we fall into patterns of low self-esteem. I'm not good enough. Because the moment suffering comes to our life, we have this deep, deep, deep inbuilt mind that tells us we must be bad. We must be punished. I think it came from centuries ago when people described, hell. If you do this, you go to hell. And when the original sin was described to us, and man was born with original sin, and because I didn't know I believed that too. I also believed that too. Until my master came one day, I think I told you this story, and we were in Rwanda. I had taken him to Rwanda, and we went into the church, and he went into the confessional box, and he called me, Nalanie, come, come, come. And I walked, and he opened the window, and I thought, oh my God, what is he going to tell me? I must have done something wrong. This was going on in my head. And he looked at me, and he said, how dare you call yourself a sinner? You are a child of God. How dare you? And in that moment, in that split moment, everything I believed that was so bad about me was gone. It was almost like, oh my God, what was I carrying here for all these years? And the fact I saw myself, the first thing I thought was, what have I done wrong now? Instead of, what did I do right that my master's calling me? I didn't see that he was calling me to give me love. I thought he was calling me to tell me off. Do you see? This is how we always think about ourselves. And we reflect this on other people. When somebody is serious, oh, what are they going to tell me now? Rather than say, yeah, everybody gets serious once in a while, no big deal. We're always on the defensive, thinking somebody's going to put us down. And the reason why we think that is because we have a very low opinion of who we are. And maybe our human personalities, maybe all of us, human personalities may not be perfect, but that's why we're here on earth. That's why we came on this journey, because our human personalities are not perfect. But that which is divine in us is perfect. And if we can train our minds, if we can train our minds all the time to think, we deserve the best, we deserve to live the best, we deserve to be our best, for the divine within us, because we don't belong to us. And if you're constantly training your mind to think like that, then when bad things happen, you don't take them personally. You realize you're going to get the best. This bad thing is just here like an obstacle. Like our master used to say, like a great wave, and a surfer looks for the great waves. It looks for the challenges. So as a yogi, when you train your mind, you start to look for those challenges that come without fear and trepidation, without anguish. Of course, we're human, and sometimes we will feel a little fear. But when you have that in mind, oh, it's just a challenge. It's just an obstacle race. I can get through it. What can I use? And this is where your yogic tools come to play. But you have to sincerely believe that each of us on this world, each of us in this world, deserve the best. But we only deserve the best when we live our best. You get a person coming to me. I don't know why nobody likes me. Nobody seems to get along with me. Look at your face. Look at your... Isn't it true? Good. I'm glad you laugh because that's the truth. Look at your face. Well, how do you look to other people? Are you smiling? Do you make friends? I had a yogi. Her mother died. And nobody called her except me and maybe one other person. Maybe Shanti. And she didn't turn up to the yoga center for months. So I said, why at this time of need haven't you turned up when we can support you? I met her a few months later. She was really depressed. You know, we love you. Everybody loves you. Well, I'm really upset. Why? With everybody at the yoga center. Why? What did they do? And she goes, well, nobody bothered to call. And I looked at her. And I said, do you know, this person lost a parent a few months ago. Did you know that one had lost her husband a few months ago? Did you know this one had lost his wife? Did you know this one's child is really ill with cancer? No. I said, did you bother to call them? If you don't bother with the world, it's not going to bother with you, is it? If you don't invest in your children, if you don't give them time, if you don't give them love, if you don't give them education, they are not going to invest in you when you are old, are they? Unless you're exceptionally blessed and have a saint for a child. It's always what you put in that you get out of life. And if you believe you deserve the best, then you put in good things in life. Not bad things. You put in kindness. The other day I was seeing a young child, 13 years old, who was really upset because, you know, nowadays it's very common. There's lots of divorces. Her parents split. And so to get attention, and this is very common. Many children do this now. Teenagers is the latest thing. I don't know if you know. I must have seen over 10 or 15 kids do this. They start to harm themselves. Do you know that? Well, it's very common. I'm glad you know. It's so ridiculously common. I think they watch the internet and get all this nonsense. They literally, and the parents are panicking, you know? And it's all for attention. And so I talk to these kids. There's quite a few of them I've talked to, and all of them come from a place where they feel they have sinned and therefore they don't deserve the best. They're not getting the best of their parents because it is their fault that their parents are separated. So they might as well die. Now, where did they get that notion from? It's quite weird, the thinking. But that's how the human mind works. It's really quite odd. And all of them, when you speak to them and say, you know, okay, so you kill yourself. What happens next? Where are you? Where are you? You kill yourself. Have you lived a good life? No. But you know, there are not good people in the world. And you know, I need to see good people in the world. Okay. Are you a good person? I ask them. And they say, I think I'm good. Well, tell me again, are you a good person? I think I'm good. Great. Then why do you want to harm yourself? Is that good? Is that good? No, it isn't good. Why isn't it good? Because by harming myself, she tells me, or he tells me, I've had both sexes. Are you hurting anybody? Yes. Why do you want to hurt your parents so much? Because I'm angry. So you think your anger can go away by you hurting yourself and making your parents more angry and sad? Do you think that's how it works? I don't know. This is not how it works. All you do is create more suffering. So now I tell these children, you're in a very difficult position, but you're also in a beautiful position. Your mother's sad, your father's sad, they're both arguing. You've been sent to be that good person you said you are, to help them both heal. Couldn't you think of yourself as their doctor? Because young people make you laugh. I tell them, I'm really glad I have grandchildren that are 13 and 15 because they teach me a lot. I said, when my husband died, they were the lights. They came in, they turned on the music. They taught me about Passenger. They taught me about music. They taught me about Ed Sheeran. I love modern music. Thanks to them. They come in every Saturday. They put on the music and they dance in my sitting room. That's why I cancel classes here on Saturday mornings. Because what better yoga than singing and dancing? And I asked these children, most of them are quite smart. Some like painting, some like singing, some like playing games. I said, cheer your parents up. Do you know the moment we change from blaming the world out there. Blaming the world out there is a cop-out. It's a cop-out because you'll never win because you can never change the world out there. And when you go back into what can I do in this difficult situation for the world, it changes. Now, all of those kids so far, well, all of them have stopped. It's true. They've all stopped. All of them have stopped harming themselves. Also, obviously, I always like to give them a shock treatment. I think it's really important. And, Gurudev taught me this story many years ago, and I use it on people who harm themselves or try to commit suicide. I tell them, okay, you have a problem. Where's your problem? On this earth, correct? Is it anywhere else? No, it's here on this earth. Okay, so you want to kill yourself. You lose your body. What are you left with? Your mind. Your mind is energy. Spirit is energy. Your soul leaves. Something leaves the body when you kill it. But you don't have the body, but you still have the same problem. And you are stuck there without a body with the same problem. Can you imagine the hell you will have? Because you can never, ever fix that problem while you don't have the body. So you kill yourself, you have no body to fix the problem. But you stay in this body and fix the problem, you won't have to go through what the Catholics call purgatory or hell. And you can fix it while you're alive. You can always fix things while you're alive. And shock treatment normally works because people get so scared of the thought of having the same problem forever. It's the best thing that always works. And I always give them the shock treatment because it's the truth. It's the truth. So how do you live the best you can be? How do you live it? You see, it's easy to do it when everything is going right. I keep saying that again and again and again. We can all do that. It's a piece of cake. There's no challenge. Everything's going right. I'm really happy. I deserve the best. Thank you, God. I have the best. Suddenly, the next day happens and everything goes wrong. What's happened? You're angry. You're in pain. And then you feel you don't deserve anything. And all that you had and all that you loved is gone down the drain. But you're still the same. You're still that same person. You haven't lost you. So you take your whatever sadness that comes to you and say, let me take this sadness and see if I can work with it to bring out the best I can. You will love yourself when you do that. You will want to live. You will want to comfort others because by comforting others, you comfort yourself. When you have compassion, all the great masters talk about compassion. When you have compassion for somebody else, doesn't it make you feel good? When a good friend is really suffering and you can hold their hand and say, I love you, you're not alone, doesn't it make you feel better than them? They may think that you are helping them, but really you are helping yourself. Unselfishness, selfless service is the highest thing you can do. And that's the best you deserve. Because when you do things like that, beyond what you think is your mental capacity, when you do things like that, respect comes in. You start to respect yourself. You start to love yourself because even though the chip's against you, you are positive. Isn't that what you respect in everybody else? Isn't that what you admire in the great saints? Isn't that what we admire in people like Wayne Dyer, Neil MacDonald Walsh, and Louise Hayes, and all these great speakers in the world? It's that being able to rise above the pain. That's what we admire. And why do we admire it? Because we are divine. And we know deep inside, or we should know deep inside, we do deserve the best. We do deserve the best. So we need to let these bad times right itself. And they will. And they always end. And there's always a good ending. Maybe not the ending you want, but it's an ending. Pain takes time to heal. You cut yourself. It really stings in the beginning. It really does sting. And then when it starts to heal, you want to itch it, don't you? Ooh, you want to take out that ugly scab. But you don't, because if you take out that ugly scab, you'll start bleeding again. You just have to wait till the scab falls off by itself. And then there's no bleeding, correct? And when you understand that you are divine, you will give yourself the patience and the time. Because you deserve to live a good life. We all do. And that's why we call this house Casa Bella Vida. A beautiful life. A beautiful life is only interesting if it has a little bit of fun in it. You know, Gurudev once said, I remember I was in Bali with him. And I was sitting in his room and there was some guest that came to visit him. And this guest came and goes, oh, Gurudev, you know, I came to visit you. I flew all this way. I had one obstacle after another. And he went on with his stories. Missed this flight and missed that flight. Oh, Gurudev, I don't know why. I just wanted to come and say, I had so much bad luck. And then Gurudev laughed and he said, well, thank God you had all those things happen to you. Otherwise you wouldn't be here telling us all this nice story. And the whole room burst out laughing. And he did too. He said, you're right. I would have had no story to tell. And we just thought, yeah. And in a moment, he goes, oh, it wasn't so bad, really. He suddenly changed. Do you know, it really wasn't so bad. And do you know, they always say when you want to see a great master, you have to go through a lot of obstacles. And suddenly he started to see all those horrible things that he thought was horrible as beautiful. I watched his mind change in front of me just by one statement my guru made. Oh, it didn't happen to you. You have nothing to talk about. And life is like this, colourful. It is colourful. Yes, it's sometimes really quite bad, the dark side. Sometimes I argue with the God up there or the God in here, wherever it is. I say, why do you have to make it so tough on human beings? Couldn't you be a little bit more gentle? Couldn't you be a little kinder? And I always hear the answer, but it's perfect as it is. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. It's the movie. It's just a life movie. It's just a life movie. And what makes the movie so beautiful is when we go to the cinema and we see movies that people go beyond themselves. inspire. Any of you watch Gandhi, the movie? Yeah, did it inspire you? And did you watch The Theory of Everything, Stephen Hawking's, in that broken body? I mean, he should have died long before if you saw the movie. How he got people to love him, marry him, and be with him, do you know? And how he still could get that to work. What was the difference? He didn't focus on his broken body. He focused on his higher intelligence. When we love ourselves, we don't focus on that which is broken in our lives, because everybody gets broken dreams. Everybody. All these children that harm themselves, all their dreams are shattered. I tell them, you're lucky you learn it young. You can learn the science of looking after yourself at a very young age. I had to learn broken dreams at the age of 25 and 30. A bit old, don't you think? I learned to make the best of broken dreams, because broken dreams come to show us that new dreams can start again. There's always a new beginning every day. Every day. It's just here that it's broken, sometimes here. And that's really painful. And the only way to heal is time. It's time. It will take time, and you need to tell yourself, it will take time. And if you really love yourself and you think you deserve the best, you will give yourself time. And you won't be hard on yourself. During that painful time, you'll do things to make yourself happy. Treat yourself. Go buy yourself something beautiful if you want. That's what material things are there for, to help you in these times. Treat yourself. Do something you've never done before. Understand totally that life is really this short for all of us. For all of us. It is short. And constantly bring yourself to that. What if I? Constantly. The teaching is very simple. Life is short. I could be gone tomorrow. How am I going to live today? How am I going to live today? How am I going to live today? Who am I? Same teaching. I'm love. How do I know I'm love? Because when I feel love, I'm happy. I feel rich. I feel great. When you feel love, don't you feel happy? My father always taught me the greatest secret of all. He kept saying to all of us as children every day, give love, give love, give love. No matter what happens to you, keep giving love. It is only by giving love that you will get love in your life. It's only by giving compassion that your heart will open. It is by judgment and blame, when you're constantly blaming, is you don't have the faith that you are divine and you can change everything. You want people to change because you don't believe in yourself. You believe more in everybody else should change, not you. Cannot, please understand this, we cannot change anyone. Got it? They can change themselves. What can we do? We can only be examples. And if they don't want to follow examples, we can't force them. And by wanting to force them and by wanting to control them, you just suffer. Can't you change? Can't you? Because you want to do this all the time, don't you? Please change, please change. And you're not going to change them. You're just breaking your head. You're hurting yourself. They are not going to change. They say, but I've done my best. And I keep thinking of the story when that used to happen to me a lot in the past. Ooh, I remember those moods. Ooh, it was horrible. I many times had to go into my prayer room and say, God, please take this desire of wanting to change somebody away from me. I used to go in my temple and pray so hard. Please, I don't want this desire. It's killing me. It's taking away my peace. I can't change anyone. Please help me to accept that you will look after them. Bless them. Just you change them. Leave me alone. And the only way I could do that was making myself independent. Following my spiritual path. And stop wanting anybody to change for me. And if they didn't want me, you know what? You can go. There's nothing to cling to. Our master said, and I always remember his story, he said, you always do your best. He said, once this woman came to me, and she was crying, Gurudev, 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 my husband's left me, he's gone away. And he goes, okay, so what? Goes, what can I do? He goes, let him go. But Gurudev, how can you say that? Thank God. Why do you want to be with somebody who doesn't want you? Don't you think you deserve the best? Don't you think if somebody doesn't want you, can you force them to be with you? Are you going to sit there and thinking I'm not good enough and let your whole life be ruined? Somebody doesn't want you. Good, be happy. I'll find somebody that does want me. And then she started to heal. She really started to heal. And I've done that with many of my patients. Many times. Somebody doesn't love you. You try your best. Always, always, always. You must give it your best shot because you have to live with yourself. You have to live with yourself at the end of the day. Always give it the best shot. And if it doesn't work, you don't love me, okay. I guess somebody else will love me more. Somebody else will love me more. We can't control. However, I have noticed for those situations where you're struggling and you don't know which direction to go, people, when they transform themselves, the relationships, father, daughter, mother, husband, whatever it is, different kinds, all kinds, sisters, siblings, they all start to shift. And I've seen this 1,000 times over the last 25, 30 years of this work. You know, I mean, we've seen it in this room. Yourself, with your sister, no matter how much trouble she's given you with your ex. Gave you so much headache and went to hospital, she wants to look after him, do you know? Don't you think that's quite wonderful? I really quite live in amazement with some of her stories. Not only did she live in the hospital with him, saw him through the operation, bring him home, cook for him, and this is a man who's been screaming at her for all this time. They're separated but living in the same house. And she's transformed him. I've seen this. Not been easy, right, Esther? Not been easy, but you've done it. And you know, these challenges come. And when you see people overcome it, there's an energy, a strength in them that is totally admirable. And then the respect, because then they also realize it is not by hate that value comes in. It is by love and kindness that value comes in. It's not by anger and blame that value comes in. It's by forgiveness and love that you value yourself. So long as you stay angry, you stay separated from the divine energy. You stay separated from yourself. So long as you're in blame, you separate yourself from the divine, from the peace, called the divine peace. When you're angry, you can never be in touch with that peace. It is only in forgiveness that you can. Try it any other way. I welcome everybody, comes to see me. Try it. You try anyway. Try getting angry. Break the door down. Do what you like. It just gets worse and worse and worse, and more arguments and more shouting and more anger within yourself. Then you can't sleep at night. Then you go to the doctor. Then you get pills, and then you start drinking, and then you take drugs because you can't deal with the problem. Wow, it's a downward spiral. Forgive. Let it go. Yes, very painful in the beginning. I don't want to forgive. They don't deserve it. But you deserve it. They may not deserve it, but you deserve it. You deserve to be free. So, okay, I'm going to work on letting go. I'm going to work on forgiving because I need to be free. It's not going to be easy. And this is where you really see the spiritual teachings. What is poison in the beginning is nectar in the end. What is nectar in the beginning is poison in the end. You really see the teachings in your own life. And that's why these things happen to us. For us to wake up, wake up. You're divine. This is temporary. Wake up. Smile, though your heart is breaking. Smile. Go, just be happy. We deserve that. Everybody deserves happiness. Do you see? And when we delight, as Sri Patanjali tells us, delight in the virtuous. The more we delight in good people, the more we see the good in people, the happier we become. What is our problem? Our problem is that we always focus on ourselves internally. Too much about I. If you hear too much of yourself in your head, no, you're going to go into a depression. Know it. It's a sign. I'm upset because I didn't get this, or it didn't come my way, or this, I. Watch it. Really watch it. It's a sign of downhill. But when you see yourself like getting excited, getting up, what can I do like to make my day better for me and for everyone, for you too. You got to spoil yourself. Spoil yourself once in a while. Be kind to yourself. Do wonderful things that you like. For me, spoiling myself is another 2 hours of meditation. That's really spoiling myself because that's precious time. But everybody has a different way. Or watching a nice movie. I love to watch a good movie, don't you? It's my recreation time. Or read a good book, which is delicious. For me, that's spoiling myself. So you need to do, and this is also spoiling myself, but it's with people, because people, we're all the same inside. Take away this superficial look, and we got same heart, lungs, hopefully kidneys and adrenal glands and tissues and blood. What's different? It's just the covering. Strip the covering. We're all the same. Skeletons, bones, quite ugly inside, quite, don't you think? But perfectly designed. That's the truth. So at one point we are all the same. We're all the same. You know, I'm reading a lovely book, and if you can get it, because I promised I want to give this to my doctor when I'm done. It's called Being Mortal. And it's a funny name. I have to write out, see if I can get it for you later. And it's about aging. You know, it's a book about how people, as we get older, and we lose our capacities. You know, it's about couples who've lived together and suddenly one gets, a stroke, and how the other one's also old, and how they have to look after each other, and how hard it is, and how painful it is, and how going into nursing homes are so painful for them that most of them end up dull and lifeless, not because they want to, because there's no choice. There's no choice. One day we're all going to be, if we live that long, like that. So this writer did lots of experiments by going to different nursing homes. And then he met some incredible people who said that nursing homes should not be like that. Old people should not be depressed. It's, just nursing homes, people telling them what to do, what medicines to take, and when they're not happy, another tablet. So all the independence is gone. They strip them of their homes. They strip them of everything. Nobody can go home and do as we say. And they think they're being kind. And so this young man his name was something Thomas, and he went to this home, and he said, he was a doctor prior, and he goes, they don't need medicine. What's the medicine going to do for them? They need to live. They're imprisoned. They're in prison. So what he suggested, broke all the rules, bring some animals, bring children, tell all the staff to bring their children, organize a daycare center next door, get animals, 2 dogs, 2 cats, 100 birds, and they all freaked out. No, it's against health laws. Anyway, he got them to try this out. Within a couple of weeks, the older people that were sitting in their corner all to themselves suddenly getting up and saying, we'll take the dog for a walk. It's my turn today. All of them having their own birds. They name each bird after themselves. And then they would tell the nurses when they come in, oh, do you know this bird? I think, they like to do it this way and that way. And suddenly life came back to them. They found such a huge difference when children were introduced, when animals were introduced. Why? They had a reason to live. And the reason was really that they were useful to somebody else. They had some use. They weren't just an old person stuck in a corner and giving everybody trouble. They were useful. So our master always says, there's 3 things we need in life to feel good, is to live in peace, to be useful, and to have an easeful body. So easeful, peaceful, and useful life throughout. And this is why it's so important to have dignity when you are young, to learn all this science when we are young. Because one day we're going to get there. And we can fight for our independence in our own way without other people coming to help us. We can say we still can be useful till the last moment. Even when you're lying down on your deathbed, you can be useful. Do you know how? You can meditate and pray for the world. You can smile at the nurse and wish them well. I'll tell you a funny story. When I had a liver operation 3-4 years ago now, wow, it was a long time ago, right? Yeah, years ago. 2011, it's 2016. And before the doctor was going to give me the anesthetic, and he was a bit worried. He was a bit worried because he said it was going to be very dangerous because it was the liver, and if I bleed, that's it. So I looked at him and I said, Doctor, before you give me the anesthetic, thank you for wanting to heal me. And please don't worry. If I die, it's nothing to do with you. It's probably my time is up. And God bless your hands. May you do the best you can. And he looked at me and said, nobody's ever said that to me in my life. He was like in shock, And then, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw a tear in his eye. And next thing I know, anesthetic and I was gone. And I was really very lucky. I didn't need any transfusions. Everything went beautifully. I trusted his hands. And trust, love is so important. Instead of screaming at people and demanding, we demand from our children, we demand from our parents, we demand. I want. Deserving the best for yourself means I have everything I need. You got it? I have everything I need. And the highest thing I have is the communication with the divine source. So get yourself back there. That's why I keep telling you, repeat the mantra. Because the mind gets you everywhere. And you just repeat the mantra. It brings you back into source. Brings you back into a place of peace. Peace. The mind is your worst enemy. I was telling you, David, today, right? Paramahansa Yogananda said, the greatest victory is not over any battle outside of you. The greatest victory is the battle over your own mind. And it really isn't such a great battle when you understand you have to feed your mind with forgiveness and love and joy and peace. And it really isn't that difficult if you can say St. Francis's prayer every day. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is darkness, let me bring light. Where there is injury, your pardon. You're smiling. Do you say that every day? And the only way you can be in spirit is by constantly singing or, singing is really good. Sing more in your life. Laugh more, sing more, listen to music. Music is heavenly. They often talk about heavenly music, right? You've heard it. And some of the classical music you hear is so heavenly. You think, how did people like Beethoven, who was blind, compose all these, incredible tunes. It's quite incredible. And Mozart, from the age of 4, it had to be divinely inspired. How else could it happen? How else. You have to ask yourself these questions. How did we get so lucky to have bodies that can move and move properly and walk? How many bodies that can't do that? I was telling this to a young person the other day. I said, you complain about life. Everything's going wrong. I said, you're so lucky. I have a granddaughter who's 8.5, and she's special needs, and she fights for her life. They told her she's not going to live. She's living. They told her that she's not going to walk. She's walking. They say she's not going to talk. Now she can at least string 3 words together. That's a miracle. The other day, yesterday, she got up saying, "Good morning, Tasha." Whoa, that's 3 words. And screaming. And we all look at her. Wow. She was screaming because she could say it. Just to be able to say it, she's so happy. And we have all the facilities, and we think we haven't got anything. When you see a child like that broken and struggling and so excited by saying that we even understand what she wants. Oh, what do you want for breakfast? Cereal? Do you want toast? We got her. She goes to the thing, my fridge, open the fridge. What do you want? Yogurt? It's a trial. It's so hard for them. And yet she does it every single day of her life. She's such a great example to me to never forget all the facilities we have. We're so blessed. That's how you live the best you can. Feeling blessed all the time. Blessed. And when things go wrong, no, it's my test. Am I going to fail it and complain? You can complain a little. Always good to complain a little. Otherwise you don't get it out of your system. You know that, don't you? If you say, no, I can do it, then you kind of, sometimes you have to complain a little. My father taught me that. He taught me you fight with God when you're not happy. Why? And then it's okay. And then after that, you calm down. It's true, isn't it? You get out all the anger, and then after that, no more. Then once you got it out, it's done. Don't keep it in here. Just get it out. Get it out. Talk. And yes, people would love to hear you. Find somebody who would love to hear you and not judge you. Even talk to yourself and don't judge yourself. I was so foolish. I did this wrong. It doesn't mean just because I did something wrong in the past that I have to continue doing it wrong, does it? It doesn't mean that. You can let it go. And forgiving yourself is the most important thing about deserving the best. You got to forgive the past. You just got to forgive it. Just got to let it go. Because if you can't forgive yourself, you will never forgive anybody else. Never. So think about all those things in your life. And I do hope you do keep a spiritual diary. It is really a lovely thing to do. Get a pretty notebook. Keep it in your bag. Keep it in your pocket. Keep it in your man's bag. Even if for men, just keep a little thin book and a little pen. And whenever you feel like writing a few words about how you're feeling, talk to God, talk to you. Where's God inside of you? Start talking, start relating, start speaking. When you have that conversation with God all the time, then you never forget the divine's with you. But of course, God is how you see God. For me, it's everything. It's everywhere. And there's this story. I don't know if I must have told it before, but I'll tell you again. Gurudev, our master, told this story often. It's about this Swami, a monk. He spent a lot of time in his garden digging, and he had beautiful rose bushes and beautiful plants everywhere. And one day the neighbor's cow came in and stamped on all his beautiful garden. He got so angry, he took a stick and broke the cow's legs. So the neighbor came back from work and saw his cow like this, and he was really troubled. And he went to the Swami. He said to the Swami, "Swami, how can you do this to my cow? How can you do this to my cow?" And he goes, "Well, he stamped on all my, trampled on all my flowers in my garden. I'd worked so hard. But why do you say I did this?" So the neighbor said, because you did it. And he goes, well, you see these hands? He had knowledge about Vedanta. And he had knowledge about, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind. So he goes, you see these hands? They don't belong to me. They belong to God. So I just do what God tells me to do. I didn't do it. It wasn't me who did it. It was God who told me to do it. So the neighbor is kind of like, okay, maybe he's talking about spiritual knowledge. I'll just walk away. So the god Indra, which is one of our Hindu gods, listening to all of this. So he decided to come as a human being down to earth and comes and walks to this Swami's garden. And he goes, oh, Swami, you have a beautiful garden. You're really lucky God gave you the hands to do it. And the Swami goes, you know what? I've spent lots of hours myself digging the ground, many, many hours looking after all the petals and the flowers and everything. And I. He goes, it's very interesting. I thought I heard you tell your neighbor that these hands belong to God. So God must have made your garden so beautiful. And at that moment, Indra took off his disguise and the Swami knelt down on his feet and he goes, you're right. He said, you know, this is what is wrong in this world. When things go right, you did it. When things go wrong, you blame somebody else. You blame somebody else. They go wrong. You say, I take it, the credit. And this is really the problem with our world. Things go right, things go wrong. We point fingers. And when we take responsibility for our lives and everything that happens to us, everything good or bad, there is a freedom in that. There's a great freedom in that. And the only thing that stops us is our pride and our ego for accepting our own mistakes and apologizing for them. But when you do that, you become very free. You become very free. And for me, freedom is the most important thing. You know, we say we're looking for freedom in the spiritual practices. We call it moksha, freedom. Freedom from attachment. The physical attachments are not so difficult to let go. I don't think so. For some people, yes. For me, no. The more difficult attachments to let go are the emotional ones. And the most difficult is the desires that drive you crazy. And freedom from those desires that drive you crazy is the most wonderful gift in the world. So great that the Upanishads say, when the mortal releases the noose that they put around their neck by letting loose the desires, just letting loose the desires, the mortal becomes immortal. That's how desires control us. That's how our addictions, our emotional addictions control us. And they're emotional addictions. And this is the non-attachment Sri Patanjali talks about in his book. It's not, I'm detached. I don't want anything. It's not like that. It wasn't mine in the first place. I had it for a little time. I loved it. It's gone. Yay. Nothing is mine. Yay. Not even my emotions belong to me. Yay. Who wants to be trapped in these desires and these emotions that drive me crazy? Why am I doing this to myself? Keep talking. You become free when you talk to yourself. And it's not a sign of madness. It's a sign of understanding. Like I said, we have a short life. Goes quicker than you think. Get on your feet when things go wrong. Get up. Have faith. Build your strength. Pray a lot. Whatever you want to pray to. Even people who are atheists pray for help. I've talked to quite a few atheists. Oh, Nalanie, don't talk to me about that God business. Many people have said that to me. So many. I said, okay, let's talk about peace. I asked them one question. When you're in trouble, what do you do? Ask for help. Who do you ask for help? Well, I just ask for help. Who are you talking to when you ask for help? Oh, that's the God I'm talking about. But it's not a God. I'm not saying it's a God. But you still say, oh, I wish I need some help, right? Who are you asking for? So I said, you may think you're an atheist, but I don't. You see? So we all know there is something out there that's helping us. So might as well tap onto it quickly. Might as well make good friends with it quickly. Might as well get in touch. Seek the kingdom of heaven, for it exists within you.